I told T.I. he should have kicked that boy when last year. If T.I. would have kicked that boy last year, that boy wouldn't have had to jack him up today.
Charleston White just set the internet on fire after calling out King Harris for stepping sideways at 50 Cent. And no, this wasn't the reaction people expected. Instead of staying neutral, White came out swinging and made it clear he's riding with 50 on this one. That leaves King standing right in the blast zone of the whole situation. In this video, we're breaking down everything Charleston White said about King Harris and what it could mean for the young rapper as this old school beef suddenly heats back up again.
King is behaving and going on with these kind of actions and inactions and traits and characteristics.
The real question behind all this drama is simple but explosive. What happens when someone's son jumps into a decades-old rap feud and drags a deceased woman into the conversation just to defend his living mother? That kind of move can shake the whole situation, and that's exactly what popped off in February 2026. Like many rap conflicts, it started with tension that never truly faded. The friction between 50 Cent and T.I. goes all the way back to 2007. During a Hot 97 interview that year, 50 openly questioned anyone claiming to be the king of hip-hop. Everybody knew that comment was aimed straight at T.I., who had proudly crowned himself the king of the South. After releasing his 2006 album King, T.I. sat down with Angie Martinez and the crown talk was already buzzing. But 50 pushed back hard, asking who decides that, the fans or the rapper? That line hit a nerve. Later that year, when 50 showed up at T.I.'s Screamfest stage alongside Jay-Z and Kanye West, the tension wasn't just rumors anymore, it had real faces and real energy. Things got even messier in 2008 when T.I.'s federal gun case ended with a 1-year sentence. Despite the possibility of decades behind bars, 50 wasted no time jumping on G-Unit's "You So Tough," rapping about the numbers not adding up. 10 machine guns, 12 months. Those bars echoed what many people were already whispering in the streets. I never forgot that moment. Then in September 2010, T.I. and Tiny were hit with drug charges involving substances resembling ecstasy. Tip ended up serving 11 months for violating parole. Meanwhile, 50 Cent went online questioning why Tiny didn't take the fall for her man. T.I. finally addressed those comments during a 2011 Vibe interview, but by then the rivalry was already carved deep into hip-hop history. T.I. shut all that talk down fast. He made it clear that nobody in his family was going to be pressured into catching a charge for anyone, period. According to him, anybody pushing that idea was a straight coward. No sugarcoating, no playing nice. That was his stance.
Of a delinquent, criminal-minded boy, then you are up and you're failing as a father, tipster.
By late 2011, the tension cooled off after the two finally connected through a phone call set up by mutual friends. 50 later told Vibe magazine that neither of them even asked for the call. It just happened through people they both respected. After that, things went quiet for a while. The beef didn't explode anymore, but it definitely wasn't gone. For years, the situation stayed calm, almost like the rivalry went into hibernation. Then July 2020 arrived and suddenly the old smoke started creeping back. On 50 Cent's 45th birthday, T.I. jumped on Instagram and challenged him to a versus battle. He told 50 to pull up with 20 records and get this work. It sounded like a full-on challenge. 50 wasn't taking it seriously though. He laughed it off and joked online that somebody must have given T the same weed smoke he had on Friday, but T.I. kept pushing the issue. During an interview on Hot 97, he told Ebro that their catalog stacked up the same and even bragged that there was a 900-pound gorilla inside him ready for battle. By September 2020, the back and forth got even louder. T.I. was demanding a date for the versus and even called 50 a young baboon face. Meanwhile, 50 kept trolling right back, joking about T.I.'s beard and asking where his trap museum exhibit was. Behind the scenes, they did talk about possibly doing the battle while both were moving around Los Angeles performing shows, but nothing ever actually happened. In 2021, 50 told the Morning Hustle that once the world started opening back up, the whole versus format didn't make sense anymore. T.I. still wasn't letting it go though. At the September 2021 BMF premiere after party, he even grabbed the mic and told the crowd to pressure 50 into the battle. 50 just stood there smiling and didn't respond. Then everything flared up again in February 2026. On February 6, T.I. appeared on the Nightcap podcast and brought the Versus challenge back into the spotlight, claiming 50 was ducking the smoke. He said he originally wanted Gucci Mane for the battle but switched to 50, and according to him, 50 still wasn't trying to do it.
Tell T.I. I got it, the best diss song he can have right now. Boy, can't find no better diss song.
But 50 fired back the very next day. He posted old Crime Stoppers footage online along with a clip of T.I.'s 2008 testimony connected to the Philent Johnson case, and suddenly the internet was watching the feud heat up all over again. 50 Cent fired back by posting a sharp warning online, basically telling people to keep his name out of their mouths. He even tagged T.I. and dropped the phrase King Rat, making it clear the tension was back in full effect. By February 12th, things got even louder. After 50 left a King Rat comment under a video of T.I. and Kevin Hart, T.I. came back swinging hard. He claimed he had paperwork on 50, called him soft, and said he had completely lost respect for him. Then on February 22nd, I sat down on the $1 Million Worth of Game podcast and laid everything out. According to him, the two had already agreed to a Versus battle while performing shows in Los Angeles, and he said 50 backed out at the last minute. T.I. claimed that moment made him question 50's entire character. That same day, the drama exploded even more. 50 Cent posted an unflattering photo of Tiny Harris on Instagram and told T.I. to stop mentioning his name. T.I. quickly jumped into the comments, calling 50 a clown and saying it didn't matter what picture he posted. In his eyes, 50 was still beneath him. And then King Harris stepped into the chaos. King, the 21-year-old son of T.Y. and Tiny, jumped on Instagram with an emotional rant defending his mother. During the heated moment, he brought up 50 Cent's late mother, Sabrina Jackson, who passed away in 1983 when 50 was just 8 years old. King posted a tombstone image and said, "This where your mama at," while also praising his own mother as a legend and telling 50 to respect her. 50 Cent's mother's passing has long been one of the most talked about tragedies in hip-hop. Over the years, he has openly spoken about how losing her at such a young age shaped the way he sees the world and how he moves through life. Now suddenly that painful history had been dragged into a social media clash. The same night, and into the next day, I dropped a song titled War, sending what many saw as a warning shot. In the lyrics, he compared himself to a hibernating bear that shouldn't have been poked and a sleeping giant that shouldn't have been awakened. Not long after that came another track called The Right One, where T.I. questioned 50's legacy and even asked why 50 never brought that same energy toward others outside the culture. Then came Lessons, featuring artwork showing a skeletal version of 50 Cent inspired by his role in All Things Fall Apart. And before long, T.I.'s sons were right there in the trenches too. Damani even dropped his own response, making it clear the whole family had stepped into the situation. The drama kept escalating fast. Damani released Miss Jackson, flipping the classic Outkast sample and pairing it with Burning House artwork. The whole track felt like an open letter, almost a family statement set to music. Meanwhile, King Harris dropped a track called Say Less and shot a video that instantly got people talking. In the clip, he wore a shirt printed with the face of 50 Cent's late mother, sparked a blunt, and pointed at the image while rapping about mothers in the grave. That moment alone sent social media into a frenzy. Rick Ross even jumped into the comments and co-signed the move, joking that he wanted King's shirt in a 3X. For someone who spent years trading shots with 50 Cent, that comment looked like a public stamp of approval from a longtime rival, but 50 Cent didn't respond with music at all. Instead, he turned the whole situation into comedy. He compared King to Pepe the Frog and treated the rant like a meme, making the whole thing look ridiculous. Then he posted an old childhood photo of King with the caption, "God don't like ugly." The trolling kept rolling. When Tina Knowles reposted the photo of Tiny showing love, 50 fired back again. He posted a picture of Tina along with a Solange elevator gif and wrote that things were getting weird. Suddenly, the situation had expanded way beyond rap beef. Kids, parents, and even grandmothers were getting pulled into the mess. Then 50 abruptly cleaned his page. He deleted the beef post and wrote, "I'm out of here. You guys hurt my feelings." It was classic trolling.
I'm on the set of 50 couldn't activate it. 50 Cent tried to say don't nobody activate T.I. like I do it.
Before disappearing from the conversation, he even handed out what he jokingly called the Stupid Award to T.I., then went completely quiet. But right in the middle of all that chaos, Charleston White stepped in with his own loud opinion. In late February 2026, across multiple live streams and social media posts, Charleston White delivered his blunt verdict on King Harris jumping into the feud. His message was sharp and direct. According to White, T.I. should have taught his son to stay out of grown folks' business. He described King's involvement as a young guy stepping way too far into a conflict between two veterans who had been going back and forth for nearly 20 years. But Charleston White didn't stop at just talking. He posted a photo of T.I.'s late sister, mirroring the same mother-for-mother energy that King had introduced earlier. His reasoning was simple. If one side opens that door, the other side might walk through it too. Charleston White doubled down on his argument. He said if King Harris could bring 50 Cent's late mother into an Instagram post, then nobody's family should suddenly be off limits. Nobody. In his eyes, once that door gets open, the rules change for everyone. White also called out what he believed was a huge double standard. According to him, the same people cheering King on for disrespecting a deceased woman were suddenly criticizing him for bringing up T.I.'s family. To White, that didn't add up at all. He made it clear he wasn't just chasing attention either. White insisted he was speaking as someone with a real opinion, not some random internet voice trying to rack up views. And in his mind, the bigger issue wasn't just the insults, it was what King's behavior supposedly said about parenting and discipline. During that same livestream, White went deeper into his criticism. He started questioning King's path, his upbringing, and the environment he came from. White even threw extra shade by calling T.I. tipster and Clifford, clearly trying to strip away the larger-than-life King of the South image the rapper built over the years. White also made a bold claim about his own connection to the situation. He said he had been cool with 50 Cent and G-Unit behind the scenes for years. According to him, he had appeared on G-Unit songs and even communicated privately with 50 before. Because of that history, White described himself as the perfect tag team partner in the feud. In his words, he was someone 50 could call on because the relationship was already there. During his streams, he openly said he was riding with 50 Cent till the wheels fall off. White wasn't acting like a spectator watching from the sidelines. Either, he talked like someone ready to jump directly into the fight. At one point, he even compared the situation to wrestling, telling 50 to tag him in while he waited on the ropes with his hand stretched out. According to White, 50 had already tried to push T.I. into reacting, but couldn't get the response he wanted. And in White's view, he was the only person bold enough and reckless enough to truly get under the Harris family's skin. And judging by the flood of reactions his posts pulled in, Charleston White might not have been exaggerating about his influence. But that raises a bigger question, like who exactly is Charleston White, and why does his voice suddenly carry weight in a messy situation like this? Charleston White is a 48-year-old comedian, motivational speaker, and social media personality from Fort Worth, Texas. His life story is intense from the very beginning. When he was just 7 years old, he lost his right eye in an accident, a traumatic event that shaped how he moved through the world from an early age. As a teenager, his life took another serious turn. Around the age of 14, White was involved in a robbery at a Foot Locker in Arlington, Texas that ended tragically when someone he was with shot and killed a store clerk. White later testified against the shooter and spent time in juvenile detention facilities as a result of the case. After those early struggles, White eventually turned his life in a different direction. He later earned a degree in criminal justice from Texas Wesleyan University and helped co-found HYPE, a nonprofit organization focused on mentoring at-risk youth and helping them avoid the same path he once walked down. White's entire public persona is built on one thing: saying the things other people are too afraid to say. He speaks loudly, directly, and without much filter, making sure his opinions are impossible to ignore. He even embraces the snitch label connected to his juvenile testimony, wearing it almost like a badge of honor. Instead of hiding from it, he flips that label into a weapon. White often uses it to challenge rappers, street culture, and what he calls hypocrisy in the entertainment world, a culture that sometimes praises cooperation when convenient, but condemns it depending on who is involved and how popular they are. His own record has added controversy to his image too. Over the years, White has faced legal issues including aggravated assault and animal cruelty charges, though he has publicly claimed those situations were either fabricated or acts of self-defense. Then in September 2025, White made headlines again after a heated debate appearance at Tougaloo College. The event spiraled quickly after he made comments criticizing HBCUs, downplaying racism and insulting students, which led to him being escorted off campus. And his tension with the Harris family didn't just start in 2026 either. White has previously talked about past diss tracks involving T.I., claimed that T.I. once tried to confront him physically, and even mentioned that T.I. publicly called him a parasite. Clearly, the friction between them had been building for a long time. When King Harris had previously thrown threats toward Charleston White, White didn't respond with jokes or light words. He came back with serious warnings that left absolutely no room for misunderstanding. To him, this wasn't some brand new conflict popping up out of nowhere. It was old tension suddenly getting fresh ammunition. White even brought up King's November 2023 incident at an Atlanta Falcons game, a moment that went viral and put King's temper on full display for the entire country to see. For White, the explosive rant King delivered in 2026 wasn't shocking at all. In his mind, it was simply the latest chapter in a pattern that had been building for years. According to White, the problem started long before the 50 Cent drama. He argued that T.I. never truly checked his son's behavior when things first began getting out of control. Instead, White suggested that fame, money, and family protection allowed King to move wild without real consequences, until the day he picked a fight with someone who didn't care about any of that. And the truth is, King Harris didn't just appear in headlines overnight because of the 50 Cent feud. By early 2026, the 21-year-old already had a growing list of public incidents that shaped his image. The moments painted a picture of a young man who was emotional, extremely loyal to his family, and still figuring out how to navigate life while growing up under the spotlight as the son of one of Atlanta's most recognizable rappers. One of King's first viral moments came back in May 2022. At the time, a 17-year-old King went live on Instagram from an Atlanta area Waffle House, and the situation quickly turned chaotic. The argument reportedly started over pickles on his order after staff enforced a rule, asking customers not to use profanity. What should have been a small disagreement suddenly exploded. During the heated exchange, King climbed onto the counter, got into a worker's face, and made threats toward the employee before eventually leaving with his corrected order. The video spread across the internet fast and became a clip that followed him for years. T.I. later addressed the situation on his own Instagram Live. He said he and King's uncles had spoken to him about the incident and admitted they were confused by how the situation escalated so quickly. T.I. told his son to focus on enjoying life and stop entertaining what he called low-energy situations. Looking back though, that advice didn't seem to slow the momentum of the controversies. Then in August 2022, King ran into legal trouble in Pickens County after being charged with speeding, driving on a suspended license, and DUI offenses, and the headlines kept building from there. King Harris's legal troubles didn't stop there. After those charges, he missed his scheduled court date, which led to a bench warrant being issued for his arrest. That warrant eventually caught up with him in October 2024 when Dunwoody police pulled over his BMW after it nearly clipped a patrol car while leaving a gas station. Officers said they smelled a strong odor and also noticed a firearm holstered on his hip. King was taken into custody at DeKalb County Jail on the old warrant but was released the very next day after the warrant was recalled. But the moment that most clearly foreshadowed the 50 Cent confrontation happened months earlier. In November 2023 at an Atlanta Falcons game, King was live streaming from a suite when a heated argument suddenly broke out between him and his parents about how he was raised. The conversation got raw fast. King pushed back against the idea that he grew up privileged. He insisted he spent a lot of his childhood at his grandmother's house and claimed those experiences were tougher than people assumed. T.I. challenged that version of events directly, asking him if he had ever woken up with a roach on his face. Tiny then stepped in and explained the situation differently, saying King stayed with his grandmother because he could get away with more there, not because life was harder. The argument quickly escalated. In the middle of the heated moment, T.I. grabbed King in a headlock while telling him he was embarrassing the family, and the entire exchange was caught live on camera for everyone watching the stream. King's brother Damani later tried to calm the situation publicly, calling the moment a misunderstanding and telling people to relax, saying, "This too shall pass." T.I. also posted afterward emphasizing that the family was still united, but by then, the internet had already run wild with the footage. The video even sparked rumors and speculation online about whether T.I. was King's biological father, though claims that Tiny shut down, immediately calling the idea the biggest bull ever. Charleston White had watched all of it unfold in real time, and by the time the 50 Cent situation exploded, he already had his opinion locked and loaded. In Charleston White's eyes, that Falcons incident proved something important. According to him, King didn't need applause or internet hype. He needed real discipline. White said the situation showed a young man struggling with frustration, but also someone he believed was being pushed by entitlement. During his commentary, White actually acknowledged that King might have real emotions behind his outbursts.
And when I told T.I. he should have kicked that boy when last year. If T.I. would have kicked that boy last year, that boy wouldn't have had to jack him up today. That boy showing out at the Falcons game, embarrassing the family. This is that King little.
But he also argued that the anger being displayed online didn't match the reality of King's upbringing. White looked straight into the camera and told King that he was born into a life most kids from the hood could only dream about. According to White, King wasn't fighting to survive dangerous streets or extreme poverty. He grew up with opportunities, comfort, and a famous family name. To White, the aggressive energy King showed online wasn't standing on business like the internet kept saying, it was standing on entitlement. King also had a brief online clash in 2024 with comedian Drewski over that same phrase, standing on business, Gakko. King claimed the phrase became popular after his Falcons incident and wasn't happy when Drewski used it in a comedy skit. At one point, King even said he would pull up on the comedian, and the situation started looking tense for a moment. But things cooled down quickly. The two eventually crossed paths at Quavo's Huncho Day event, where Drewski later confirmed that King actually showed up and they handled the conversation face to face. No drama, no fight, no chaos. Then in January 2025, King went viral again after speaking openly about his relationship with the mother of his child, Janiyah Nana Epson. During the discussion, King said their relationship allowed freedom on both sides and told people not to try exposing him for things his partner already knew about. The internet reacted instantly. Some people respected the honesty and transparency, while others felt it was reckless oversharing from a young father who seemed comfortable putting his personal life online. But later that year, a much more serious situation surfaced. In July 2025, longtime accuser Sabrina Peterson resurfaced allegations involving trafficking and exploitation that mentioned King alongside T.I. and Tiny. Peterson claimed she had receipts, including text messages she said were sent from King to a young woman. Peterson described the woman as someone who had been trafficked, but the Harris family strongly denied every claim. They argued the accusations were part of a personal grudge that stretched back to 2021 and labeled the allegations as propaganda meant to damage their reputation. No criminal charges were ever filed in connection with those claims. In fact, the family pursued defamation action against Peterson, and in related civil cases, some rulings went against her. In one decision, Peterson was ordered to pay roughly $97,000. As it stands, the allegations have never been proven in court. All of this context matters because it shows the reputation King Harris carried into February 2026. By that point, people already viewed him as passionate, impulsive, extremely loyal to his family, and someone willing to take things further than most expected, or even wanted. But the clash involving T.I. and King wasn't the only conflict surrounding 50 Cent during this time. Throughout 2025 and heading into early 2026, 50 seemed to be juggling multiple public feuds at once, and he was using his classic strategy: memes instead of diss tracks, surveillance clips instead of studio records, and sharp Instagram captions instead of lyrical battles. One of the biggest conflicts involved Big Meech. That situation wasn't about competition, it was about betrayal. 50 Cent had served as executive producer for the Starz series BMF, which starred Lil Meech and told the story of the Black Mafia family empire. But after Big Meech was released from prison in early 2025, after serving around 18 years of a 30-year sentence, tensions started rising. His February 13th Welcome Home concert included ties to Rick Ross, and that didn't sit well with 50. Soon after, 50 began posting rap memes, old booking photos, and captions referencing Tammy Cowens, a former BMF associate who has been accused of cooperating with federal authorities. 50 even tagged Meech in some posts and referred to him as a slick rat. He also made controversial claims about Lil Meech, suggesting the young actor developed substance issues while working on the BMF series, adding another layer of drama to an already heated situation. Big Meech kept his response simple and street. Instead of getting dragged into the online back and forth, he posted messages like death before dishonor, leaning on the code that helped build the BMF legend in the first place. The tension kept simmering through April 2025 and beyond. It never exploded into a full war, but it also never cooled off enough for people to stop watching. Rick Ross eventually stepped right into the middle of the conversation, and every move he made seemed sharper than the last. His history with 50 Cent already stretched back more than a decade. The feud reportedly started around 2009 after what Tony Yayo once described as a hospitality issue. According to that story, 50 didn't greet Ross at an industry event, skipping a handshake that's considered an important sign of respect in Southern culture. Ross reportedly took it as intentional disrespect. From that small moment, a massive rivalry grew. Then in August 2025, Ross posted a poolside video where he mocked 50's early Interscope deal, calling it horrendous. He questioned why nobody around 50 renegotiated the contract after Get Rich or Die Tryin' went diamond. Ross hinted that the same man who once claimed to dominate the music industry might have actually been outplayed by it. Ross also connected himself to the Big Meech tension through concert support and later stepped into the T.I. drama in a subtle but clear way. When King Harris released his diss video wearing a shirt featuring the face of 50 Cent's late mother, Ross jumped in the comments saying he wanted that shirt in a 3X. That message wasn't just support, it felt like a signal. For many fans, it looked like Ross had been waiting for the perfect moment to slide into the chaos. And when it arrived, he delivered his message with the calm confidence of someone ready to reopen an old rivalry. Meanwhile, the Jim Jones situation showed another side of 50's strategy, pure trolling mixed with sharp timing. In February 2026, 50 posted dated surveillance footage showing Jim Jones along with Millie's Fabulous and Dave East trying to force open the door of a locked Bronx podcast studio. According to reports tied to the post, the studio had its power and lights cut after falling behind on rent. The grainy security footage quickly went viral because of how embarrassing the moment looked online. But 50 didn't stop there. He also posted the eviction notice, and instead of using Jim Jones's stage name, the document listed him as Joseph Jones, his government name. That detail added an extra layer of disrespect. Then came the caption. 50 joked about whether Jones wanted to be friends and even suggested they could rap about the situation. At the same time, he claimed the studio owed somewhere between $80,000 and $180,000 through his building management company, IFC Management, turning the entire situation into another headline-grabbing moment. This whole clash with Jim Jones wasn't fought with music at all. It played out through paperwork, property rules, and landlord drama, and somehow it hit harder than a diss track ever could. Getting exposed by your own landlord online is a different type of loss that no freestyle can clean up. Then there's the personal situation involving 50 Cent's own son, Marquise Jackson. Their estrangement has been one of the most public and painful family splits in hip-hop history. By Father's Day 2025, the tension resurfaced again when Marquise posted memes that many people believed were aimed directly at his father. The post mocked the idea of 50 as a dedicated family man and questioned whether the public image matched what he experienced privately. Throughout 2025 and into 2026, Marquise also spent time around people connected to 50's rivals, including Lil Meech and others tied to Big Meech's circle. That only added more fuel to the situation and gave 50's critics something new to point at. Their complicated history already had moments that fans still debate. Back in 2022, 50 once offered $6,700 for 24 hours of quality time with Marquise. Some people saw that as an awkward attempt to reconnect, while others believed it came off more like a sarcastic jab. That complicated father-son history made King Harris bringing up 50's late mother even more layered. For many watching online, it added another level of irony to the entire situation, and the internet noticed immediately. Looking across all these conflicts, Big Meech, Rick Ross, Jim Jones, and even Marquise, one pattern stands out in how 50 Cent handles drama. He rarely answers with music anymore. Instead, he responds with content, memes, screenshots, old footage, eviction notices, edited images, and perfectly timed social media posts. While others drop diss tracks, 50 drops Instagram bombs. The result is wild. His opponents might release songs, but somehow 50 still stays at the center of every conversation without even touching a microphone. At this point, he's turned trolling into a full empire. And the crazy part is he doesn't even need to rap to control the moment anymore. For 50 Cent, the strategy is simple. His phone is the weapon, and the internet is the battlefield. That's the environment this whole situation unfolded in. By the time T.I. restarted the Versus talk and King Harris jumped into the drama, 50 was already fighting battles on several fronts, and the response King received followed that same exact playbook. Memes, Pepe the Frog comparisons, edited childhood photos, and calculated silence. The same tactics 50 had been using against Big Meech, Rick Ross, Jim Jones, and even the tension involving his own son. At the same time, 50 wasn't exactly running from King either. He simply treated the situation like everything else, content to manage, not a threat that required a diss track or a full response. In his world, a caption and a perfectly timed post could do more damage than a studio session, but the internet didn't stay neutral for a second. The moment the drama exploded, people instantly chose sides with the intensity of a courtroom that already had the verdict decided before the trial even started. Memes spread across social media faster than any diss song ever could. Fans tracked every post, every deletion, and every response with the focus of reporters covering a hip-hop war, and the debates got heated fast. At the center of the argument was one major question: where is the line between defending your mother and disrespecting someone who has passed away? Reaction split almost straight down the middle. One side applauded King Harris, saying he showed real loyalty and heart by defending his mom against someone who had taken shots at his family. The other side was just as loud. Critics said bringing up someone's grave crossed a serious cultural line and broke one of hip-hop's long-standing unwritten rules, showing respect to the deceased. Over on Reddit, the conversation splintered into endless sub-debates, with fans dissecting every detail of the feud and arguing over whether the moment was justified or completely out of bounds. The debates online got so intense that each argument could have carried its own week-long discussion. Some fans claimed 50 Cent had taken losses in almost every major feud, except the one with Ja Rule, arguing that during his peak he had strong backing from Eminem and Dr. Dre and had been riding the image of dominance ever since. Others flipped the conversation toward 50's personal life. They argued that his strained relationship with his son Marquise made it difficult for him to lecture anyone about family values. Critics pointed out that years of public jokes and tension between father and son weakened the idea that family loyalty was sacred in his case. Charleston White's involvement also split the audience right down the middle. Supporters praised him for being consistent, saying he had always claimed that bringing up someone who has passed away crosses a line, no exceptions. But critics saw something very different. They accused White of selective outrage and chasing attention, pointing out that he had criticized Tiny Harris publicly for years, without showing the same moral concern that he was suddenly expressing now. Rick Ross stepping into the situation made the debate even louder. His comment asking for the diss track shirt, the one featuring the photo of 50 Cent's late mother, sparked another wave of arguments. Some fans saw Ross's reaction as loyalty, the move of someone supporting a family standing together. Others saw it as clear opportunism from a man who had spent over a decade trading shots with 50 and was willing to support anything that embarrassed his rival. Ross's involvement also pushed the culture into an uncomfortable question. Did that shirt, a piece of merchandise featuring a deceased woman's photo worn in a diss video, represent a new low in rap beefs? Or was it simply the extreme outcome of a genre that has always turned personal pain into lyrical material? While the internet argued non-stop, T.I. moved with the calm precision of a veteran. Instead of stepping away from the chaos, he folded the entire moment into promotion for Kill the King, the album he described as his final project. After more than 25 years in the game, T.I. showed he understood exactly how to convert controversy into momentum, turning smoke into streams and drama into attention. The rollout kept building momentum. The lead single, Let Him Know, produced by Pharrell Williams and paired with a Hype Williams directed video, dropped right in the middle of peak beef chaos. The timing worked perfectly. The track climbed the Billboard Hot 100 to around number 43, marking T.Wine's highest solo chart position in more than a decade. The video pushed the energy even further. Luxury cars glided through Atlanta and Miami, creating that flashy, cinematic vibe fans expect from a big rap rollout. Pharrell appeared in the visual, giving the record extra production credibility, while Young Dro's ad-libs connected the newer version of Tip to the classic era fans remember. It felt nostalgic but also aggressive, like the past and present colliding at full speed. T.I. even confirmed during the 2026 Grammys that he planned to retire after this album. He framed Kill the King as the final chapter, a career-closing project after more than 25 years in the game. And the truth was obvious. The controversy surrounding the beef helped fuel the music's momentum. The tension gave the songs energy, and the songs gave the drama structure. The relationship between the two was almost perfect timing, so effective it looked like a masterclass in how to turn conflict into attention. Nothing about the rollout felt random either. Every drop seemed carefully aligned with the drama cycle. When King Harris's rant started spreading across the internet, T.I. released Ward that same night. The lyrics compared himself to a hibernating bear that shouldn't have been poked. A message delivered with the urgency of someone ready for the fight. The next day brought another release, the right one, where T.I. questioned why 50 Cent seemed to save his toughest energy for people within his own culture. Within the same week came Lessons, complete with a striking skeletal artwork referencing 50 Cent's film role in All Things Fall Apart. More snippets followed throughout the Kill the King rollout, each one dropping right as headlines heated up. The strategy felt almost surgical, like every news story was a billboard, and every comment section was a live focus group watching the battle unfold. Damani and King both dropped their tracks just days apart. Even T.I.'s What Bully entered the mix, taking shots at 50 Cent's reputation for going after smaller names while avoiding opponents who might hit back with the same level of force. At that point, the Harris household had basically turned into a non-stop content factory. Music, videos, and responses rolling out back to back. Industry voices started weighing in too. Commentators like DJ Academics compared the moment to the cultural intensity of Drake versus Kendrick, but that comparison also highlighted something important. The situations weren't exactly balanced. Drake and Kendrick traded bars directly, record for record. Here, T.I. and his sons kept releasing tracks, while 50 Cent stayed completely silent on Wax. The musical scoreboard looked almost one-sided. Either T.I. was stacking points with every release, or 50 had figured out how to control the entire conversation without recording a single line. In the end, it all depends on how you define winning in a rap battle, but now I want to hear from you. What do you think about Charleston White calling out King Harris and defending 50 Cent? Was King right for standing up for his mom, or did things cross a serious line? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share the video, and click on one of the videos on your screen to check out more content like this. See you in the next one.